Yo, guys, what's up, and welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. This is episode 176. Tonight on the cast is myself, Finto, and Alex, aka Zaberwolf. Tonight we're going to be talking about Peacemaker episode 3 and any other nerdy news in between. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, leave a like on the video, and if you're watching us on a replay, maybe leave us a comment below. Let us know what you think. Without further ado, here we go. Yo, what's happening?
Hey,
How are you?
so many questions. I'm trying to answer one. I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you doing?
Good, man. Yeah, I'm not too bad. Not too bad. Just business as usual, I suppose. Yeah, like I'm still kind of acting team lead, and I'm getting pulled like 4 different ways. Like during the day, like it's just I'm asked to join meetings and do escalations, and all on top of doing my own job. And I was in a client site today, and people are asking me to give them phone calls, and then I've got people knocking on my physically knocking on my door, like looking for help and everything. I'm just like, I can't do all this, So it's tough, but I think it'll pay off in the end. I invite the challenge, I suppose. I got invited to a Apple tech talk on Friday as well, which would be kind of cool. So like my company are the only like enterprise partner with Apple in my country. So we get these cool like we liaise with like the London office quite a bit and everything, and we literally get invites to all these things. And a couple of the Apple heads I've expressed in the past, I've expressed a lot of want to maybe dip into the Apple stuff, because I used to work for a repair center here doing like warranty repairs for Mac and stuff, and I loved it. Like I love all their hardware and everything. I'm a big Apple head. So dipping back into that, like in a kind of professional level where I am now in my career, I think it would be pretty cool. To be a bit of a niche in my own company, because a lot of my company like don't want to touch Apple at all. Like they're Windows to the core, and they don't want to go anywhere near OS X, whereas I like it, So I'm not opposed to it. So like our director was kind of like, "Geez, you want to work for Apple?" I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to do some Apple stuff," and he's like, "Fuck," he's like, "That could be a bit of a niche, So
What kind of
Sorry, go on.
What kind of laptops do you guys use?
In work, I use a Dell. I'm on a Dell Latitude Windows 11 machine. It's actually a beast. The laptop I got it's got like a 14 Gen i7 and like 32 gigs of RAM and everything. I'm like, this thing's a fucking rocket.
And that's one of the big differences, is that like for what I do in my work, a lot of us use Macs because Macs are more streamlined into like what we're like all the different iterations that we have. With Windows, it's great. There's a little more versatility with it, and you can adapt by like adding other types of programs that kind of work the same way that Mac does. It's just some more bobbing and weaving, but Windows definitely has a more open area of like, we can totally make this like a beast of a product, so that you can like everything that you do will be just so fast and so efficient. But like in terms of what I do, it's like, nah, we just need Macs.
Like I heard rumors a long time ago that when they were developing, like when Microsoft were developing Windows Vista, they were testing it on MacBooks, which I always found kind of funny, because they're kind of like, in the tech world, they're kind of enemies or whatever, and it's kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like they make good hardware, and I think they make good software that really like goes hand in hand with their hardware. I have an iPhone and a MacBook Pro, and like, I can work on, and I do this all the time. Like when I create like a thumbnail for the podcast, for example, I can just literally share it to my phone at the press of a button, pops up on my phone. I can do all my socials, like posting all the links and all that sort of stuff. Same with clips. I create clips like from my streams on my MacBook, and all my video editing, everything's done on my Mac. And at literally press of a button, I can just send it straight to my phone over AirDrop, and then I can just post it to my socials and everything. So stuff like that's really, really cool. All the screen sharing stuff is really good as well. I have an Apple TV downstairs connected to the big screen. I can just share my phone up onto the screen. I can do all sorts of cool shit, like, So I don't know, man. I think talking about like, Apple versus Samsung or Windows versus Mac, I think talking about that shit in 2025 is kind of ridiculous, but it's
still a thing.
It is still a thing. Like, with the release of, only yesterday they announced the iPhone 17, and like all the Samsung heads like, oh, well, we had that feature a few years ago, and it's like, oh, just give it over. It's 2025, lads. Like, buy whatever phone you want. It's just, go for it.
it's just a yank on the chain, man. Like it's one of those things of like, why haven't you had this in like at all since? But like,
Yeah,
there's other features that Apple and Mac have that Windows won't.
yeah.
But it's like I was, to be fair, dude, I was joking with my team members about like Mac because I was like, is there tiling in Mac? And they're like, no. I said, is there any way I can get tiling in Mac? Because I have a Windows computer and I really like tiling, being able to move my Windows like panels over here, so I can do like 4 different panels here, or two on each side, fill in the screen, or one up top and two in the bottom. And as I said that, a new update for Mac was rolling out. When it was
And it
like
had
now
tiles.
adding tiling, I was like, finally.
That's pretty bad. Love it. Love it. Yeah, I'm gonna see because like I have an iPhone 13. It's a company phone. I haven't bought myself a phone in years. Like I've been getting my company to buy my phones probably since 2015. So I haven't actually like physically bought a phone in 10 years. Um, and I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna say no to a free phone, but I have a 13 at the moment, which will be now in like September, like in a couple of weeks' time, it'll be four generations old. So I'm gonna see if I know the new phones are quite expensive, but I might just ask my boss if I can get a new phone because my phone's like 3 or 4 years old now, and it's I'm charging it twice a day sometimes, and I'm just gonna kind of be like, look, can I get a new phone and maybe quote me for the 17 Pro or something, and I'll maybe make up the difference or whatever. If it's too expensive, you can take the
Mhm.
difference out of my salary or something like that. Um, and hopefully they say yes because I would like a new phone. Like I get a lot of hands-on experience with a lot of the hardware because I'd be setting up like new starters and stuff for some of our clients, and one of the clients had like an iPhone 15 Pro Max the other day. Like, and I took the thing out of the box and I was holding my hand and I was like, oh, this is beautiful. I'm doing like the initial setup of it and everything. And I'm just like, oh, it just transitions between all the screen. I was like, it's so nice compared to the phone that I have. So and I've had 16s in my hand as well already. So I'm sure someone will have a 17 soon. I'm just going to be like, oh, I need this shit. I do. I need a new phone now. So if I wasn't working with newer hardware, you don't see the better side of things, like, so it's like booting up a brand new laptop and you're seeing how fast it is. You're like, oh, maybe I need a new laptop, or, it's like, it's kind of killer. It's kind of killer, but it is what it is.
Yeah, the phone that I have, it's a Samsung Galaxy Ultra 22 or something like that.
Yeah,
Um,
my girlfriend has the 23, I think. Is that the
well,
one that like you can take pictures of the moon? The camera's so good you can zoom in on the moon on it with it.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's like a little bit far fetched here and there, but like I haven't tried it yet. But like it's got I have a 10
Her one
time
can.
zoom.
Her
I
one
think
can. I've taken pictures of the moon with her one. It's insane.
so. Then maybe mine doesn't have that
Okay.
capacity because I only have like 10 times. I don't have 100 times yet.
Yeah, she has the 100 zoom. So yeah, maybe you have the 22 and she's the 23 or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's pretty cool. It is pretty cool, to be fair. Like when it's a full moon, you can stand outside, you can zoom straight in, and you start seeing like the craters on the moon and shit. It's kind of crazy.
yeah. But lately the some of the pixels or whatnot, like it's starting to blotch out there, like where the camera is. It's starting to show like black, like pooling, almost
Okay.
as if the pixels are dying.
Right.
Um, and it's not like growing, but it's there, and it's starting to get a little bit larger over time, or whenever I drop it.
Mm. Yeah,
um,
yeah. Each drop is getting a little more fatal.
yeah, it's like, and I've never had that before. I've never had a screen that's like actually started failing on me, or whatnot.
Yeah.
So I already got Katie like the new, I think it was like the Google Pixel 10 Pro, like XL Max Plus, you know. Um,
Top of the
and
rage, puppy.
right,
Yeah.
and like I want to get a new phone now, but if I just wait like probably another 6 months, I could totally get the 26 when it comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what like I was thinking about. Like when I was using these 15 Pros in work, and I was like, oh, well, I just get one of these. Like I'm sure one's not going to be that expensive. And then every time I look into buying new Mac stuff, just as I'm about to buy it, they release something new. It happened when I
Yeah.
bought the watch. I would like rang up like Apple and was like, I was looking for the 8 and they didn't have any in stock on the website. And I was like, are you getting the 8 back in soon, or what's the story? And they were like, oh, I don't know if we're going to get it back in. Do you want a refurbed one? And I was like, I'll hang off for a minute because it was the same price. I was like, fuck that. And then like the next day they announced the 9 and I was like, oh, thank God I waited, Thank God I didn't pull the trigger on a refurbished 8 when the 9 came out the next day. And then the same thing happened with my MacBook. I went to literally price up like the MacBook Pro through my job, and it took a couple of days to get the whole ball rolling with our sales department and everything. By the time they came back with the quote, they were like, it's actually end of life. The new one's coming out next week. And I was like, brilliant. Because I got like 2 gigs more RAM, more hard drive space, and it was like €200 cheaper as well. It made no sense. I was like, this is the best day ever. So I'm hoping something like this happens again. Keep the Apple trend going.
Definitely. And I advise anybody that's listening right now, if you're deciding that you want to do an upgrade, please do the research. Do it like, and make sure you check to see like if there's any forums or anything that are, let's say there's all these different iterations, just like Vinto just mentioned. If you're trying to get the latest and greatest right now, but it's been like about half a year since you've heard of it, do some research, make sure that like you're not about to buy something and then go into the next generation just drops immediately. And then you're like, oh, well, shit, I just bought this one and started utilizing it. It like at least try to get to the next to the current. That way you at least have I would say like a full year before you're behind again.
Yeah, definitely. Like, especially when you're like, they pretty much release an iPhone every year now. So do you know what I mean? I thought, like, for me, and I know people do this, people like upgrade their iPhone every year, and I think that's ridiculous. You know what I mean?
It's
like,
horrible.
Going from like 15 to 16, like you're not seeing much of an increase at all. Like for me, going from 13 to 17 is going to be a giant leap. Like I'm going to notice everything. Like the screen on the new ones is like a 120 hertz screen and everything. Like, so everything's going to like just move fucking smoothly and everything. And more hard drive space, an A19 chip. Like it's going to be like night and day. Better cameras left and right, AI integrations, all this crazy shit. Like it's gonna be a massive jump for me. But like going from a 16 to a 17, probably not that much. Because when they released the new iOS as well, like a lot of the features that they kind of build for the new phones are kind of backwards compatible for a year or two. So you like if you have a 16, you might get a good few of the new features on your 16 that are being developed for the 17. So it's like I don't see a point. Again, if you're not paying for the phone, like if you're getting it through your job or whatever, great, congrats to you. But I wouldn't be spending my hard-earned money getting the new phone every single year. Maybe every 3 years or something. Do a jump every 3 or 2 years if you want to be really on the cutting edge of stuff. Like, but upgrading your fucking phone every September is wild to me. Wild.
Yeah, and I think it has to do with FOMO. Like, that was kind of like in my opinion, it's one of the birthplaces of FOMO, because when you get like a new phone comes out and all your friends have like, when they had the first iPhone and someone got the iPhone 2 and it's like, oh my God, you have the iPhone 2. So what new features, like stuff like that makes people want to continuously buy into the next thing. And it's like, that's great, but yours does all the same features. It's just slightly faster for the next one. That's all it is.
Well, like they've definitely stopped making the jumps like so drastic. Like, do you remember like the jump from like 3 to 4? Like the phone looked completely different size, different shape, different materials. And then like the 4 to 5, like they jumped to like a glass case and all this crazy shit. Then 6, they went like titanium and it was a different shape and it was much bigger and the screen got bigger that year. And and then they introduced like the fingerprint scanner and all this shit. And it was a big jump. Like I had the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I skipped the 8 and then I got a 10 because they didn't have a 9. They went to 10. But like it was nearly warranted at the start. And I don't know if that was a marketing scheme of theirs. Like, it's like, let's make it so that the phone is different every year. And then people get into the habit of replacing their phone once a year, and then we start trickling out like minor differences, like the difference from like say the like 11 to 12 or 12 to 13. It's not drastic. Now performance wise, yes, it is, but I think for the most part they look quite similar. They might change the fucking position of a button so that your old case won't work and you have to buy a new case, like they're scumbags, like they are. But it's marketing genius, of course, like, but they really do get you. Stuzy, what's up? How are you? Welcome back to the stream. I know you were here last week. I appreciate you stopping back in. I still use the 13 as well. Sorry if you're only just joining us now. We're talking about the new iPhones and stuff. We're kind of on a bit of a techie buzz at the start of this stream, but we both work in IT, so this was bound to happen, guys. It was bound to happen. But yeah, they just announced the 17 yesterday, and I think I'm going to try and squeeze one out of my job if I can. Fingers crossed, guys. Pray for me, guys. Pray for me. I might have an answer for the next podcast if I'm going to get one or not. We'll see. Let's shoot it to some nerdy shit because we're here 15 minutes already. That was a great conversation, though. I could sit here and talk IT shit all day, so I won't, because there's probably
Oh,
some Marvel
absolutely.
nerds, probably some Marvel and DC nerds going, "What the fuck are we listening to right now?" You know. So let's try dip into something here. So Peacemaker episode 3 of the new season. I
Mhm.
know episode 4 is probably on in a couple of hours' time for a lot of people that are listening to this live, but we haven't sat down and had a chat about episode 3 yet. So what did you think of episode 3?
I
Kind of how
really
we
enjoyed it.
before you even say anything, kind of
Sure.
how we predicted it was going to go. Like, you know,
Oh,
I'm pretty
absolutely.
sure the two of us had this exact conversation last week. He's going to go over to the nice universe and hang out there for a little bit, and you know, meet his girl and all this sort of stuff. And like, pretty much like we had just said, it pretty much landed the exact way that I thought it was going to land. Yeah, it was hilarious, but it was good. It was good.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I did like the idea that like it seems like Hardcore and Chris had a bit of a thing in the past,
Yeah,
and so like because of his ways in that universe, they kind of separated a bit. And now she's like with Rick Flag here and there, like and you know Rick Flag Jr. is still alive in this universe as well, and it seems kind of interesting how like they're they're kind of rolling it forward. It almost feels like they're going to maybe pull him into the other universe, or maybe he's going to come over, and you know I think that would
yeah,
be kind of cool.
that would be a bit of a mind fuck as well, if, especially if like Rick Flag Senior, who's obviously on the warpath for Peacemaker now, um, if he's gonna literally bring back a live version of his son, like how's that gonna react with all of them over there? And I thought it was quite interesting how they did the flashback and she was sleeping with him like while he was with the what's her name, Enchantress or whatever her name is. So
Yeah.
obviously, I don't know if that was them actually like kind of like canonizing the first Suicide Squad movie, because there was no mention of her in the James Gunn one, right? She wasn't in the James
Mhm.
Gunn one at all. So is that them kind of canonizing the first one, or is that them kind of retconning the second one to make her to put her into that story? You know, I don't really know. Um,
I mean, she's off scene, so like at any point, like you can mention any sort of hero or villain,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
would
they're
say like
around
that.
somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah, which I think is better in that sense, unless you're like actively trying to. Maybe that call is so that we can get Enchantress as a character in a movie or another show. I think that would be kind of a good idea because, like, if you mention them, that means they exist now within that universe, and so
sure.
um, considering that, like, it's still a different universe, so we don't know if Enchantress still exists in the original universe that we're currently in. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like it could be that Enchantress doesn't exist, but
yeah,
more than likely, maybe it's just another iteration of them. But overall, I think that that's a great call. I think it's cool when they mention different characters. A lot like when we were watching Marvel shows or Marvel movies, and they mentioned like, oh, that Norse god with the hammer, and you know stuff like that. I think that's always like
yeah,
a tongue in cheek kind of moment. Um,
yeah. I like that too.
good stuff. And I like, but overall, like the new universe definitely seems a lot nicer. They're a lot more accepting of you know Peacemaker and his crew, like his brother and father. It seems like they're all just
They're
indic.
proper heroes in this earth. Like they're basically the Justice League on this earth. So
Yeah,
obviously, you know, our version of Chris, will call it. He literally, you know, his whole life has just been him just trying to get into the limelight and get the kind of fame and fortune that he thinks he deserves. So obviously, he's going to love going to this world where he's going to be a celebrity and a hero. You know. What do we
well,
think of the Earth X theory here?
I don't know too much about that. You'd have to explain that to me.
So so the Earth X theory is basically like what Derpy's saying here. It's an alternate universe where like the Germans won World War II basically, and the whole world is kind of ran by Nazis and stuff. It's a pretty wild Earth. Like, you think that that's the Earth that he's on? Like, you think that's the DCU, or you think that's the nice version of Earth that he's going to? Because I would have expected it to be the other way around. I don't know. The slippery slope for the DCEU canon. Peacemaker's canon, fair enough, but how far back does it go? This is the point I'm trying to make. Like, you know, you talk about like take for example, like Amanda Waller is in she like Amanda Waller goes back as far as Batman versus Superman, which was like 2016. And that same year, like the first Justice League or the first like Suicide Squad came out, and she was in that as well, obviously. And then, you know, his wife was in like all the James Gunn stuff, and now that's being canonized. So yeah, like I've been saying this since day one, like the canon is pretty messy, you know, and we kind of thought that there was going to be like a kind of logical explanation to the like the kind of retcon of this season. And it seems like maybe they're just not going to really say anything. They're just going to be like, well, this is how it is, and this is how it's always been. Just forget about it, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think there's pluses and minuses to doing it both ways. You know, like I think part of me just says, yeah, let's just forget it. Let's just kind of switch off our brains and watch it, and who cares about the canon? And then like part of me is like the real nerd in me is kind of like, you know, oh, I want to try and justify the canon so much, you know, because like when you see characters like Amanda Waller, who we're led to believe is meant to be the same character who was in all those movies before, like she's sitting down at a table with Bruce Wayne talking to him about, you know, the Bell Rave and the fucking Suicide Squad and everything, you know. And then it's like he's saying that they're all canon now, and like Peacemaker himself was on the Justice League. So it's like it's messy, man. It is messy. But then, you know, you're like your argument, you could just say, well, look, these heroes are just here, and it is a different universe, but they look the same because they're the same actor, and you know, don't think about it too much, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
But I think it's fun. I think they're doing a pretty good job. I know a lot of people aren't necessarily fans of multiversal, like, you know, congregations, or like, you know, the multiversal clashing.
Yeah.
But this one is doing a really good job of making it so that it's not necessarily like causing that big of an issue. It's just one person going in there and like, you know, kind of understanding and enjoying like the aspects of this life compared to what he, you know, the shitty lifestyle that he had previously. And I think that's really fun. I like when you look at let's say like Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse, they also do a pretty good job of kind of like establishing like, oh, this world is like different because of this, oh, this world is different because of that. As opposed to, you know, when I see Multiverse of Madness and whatnot, we get kind of a snippet of the world and it's kind of like brushed off immediately, or we get like a big chunk of it and nothing else is kind of explained. We don't get enough to kind of feel connected to that world. Like, you know, I know a lot of people wanted like, what was it, 838 to be like a new thing to like work with, but I think it's not going to be established as concretely. Like maybe I'll eat my own words when it comes to Battle World and when we do Secret Wars, but I highly doubt it. I think that they're going to try to do snippets of other worlds that might be more applicable. Whereas like if you do this with Peacemaker, it's more along the lines of like, you know, you could just open and close the door. I don't think it's really going to cause any sort of issues. Yeah, literally.
They are literally opening and closing the door. Sorry, go on.
No, you're good. Like I
wasn't sure if you meant that as a pun or not, but
I didn't think about it until but
very good.
But that's very good. I mean, but that's the cool thing about it is like you're giving us time to enjoy the world. You're not just briefly putting us in there and then moving us off into into another area. Like they could have easily done that. They could have easily been like, well, let's try this door. Well, let's try this door. Well, let's try. I like this because they're giving us time, and it's really like it makes me want to know more. It's like, okay, so are the JLA? Do the JLA exist here? Do the Justice Gang exist here? Is Economo still active? Like in this is you know, Waller's daughter here? Is Waller here? Like what, you know? And I know that they've explained things here and there that I don't exactly remember. But the more important thing during the story is the fact that like Hardcore is kind of happy, and she's in kind of a better limelight. She's not struggling. Apparently, Chris isn't struggling. Rick Flag Jr. seems to be kind of like more of a nutcase in this timeline as well, or universe. And I got to stop saying timeline because it is a different universe. It's not a different time.
Yeah.
it's kind of it's just a really interesting change of pace that I like for this. It has nothing to do with time. It just has to do with place. Um,
DC do this quite well. Like I don't know if you ever watched the Flash show on the CW, but they did like Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 3, and then they like went crazy and it's like Earth fucking 645. Like it gets wild once they start really cracking open the multiverse, but they do a thing like where you first see a parallel universe. It was Earth 2 they called it, and you went over there, you spent episodes over there, you met people, they were slightly different. You got to see like the actors, showing off their acting skills and being a slightly different person, different personalities and all this stuff. And I think that's a really cool way to do it. Like like what you said, I don't really like how Marvel are dipping into the 838 for 20 minutes of one movie, and then in the next movie they're in like 828 for 5 minutes of one movie, or whatever it is. And we find out like there's like different Spider-Man from all sorts of different universes that we're not really getting to see anything of it. So like it doesn't really mean anything that they're from a different universe, because like we don't really know the universe at all. I, like I suppose with Fantastic Four, at least we got an entire movie like separate to the 616 that was in a universe, and now they've kind of confirmed that that universe is going to be where Doom was from. So at least that universe is probably going to become quite important. And I think that's probably where the last incursion will be that will lead to Battle World or whatever. Um, I don't really want to go too deep on like spoilers and stuff and like leaks and stuff like that I've heard for Doomsday, but it seems like it's all going to be quite important to the
that's
main
good.
story. Yeah.
That's good. I still just I feel like it's a bit of a crutch though when you're trying to introduce new characters and you don't know how to put them into the original universe that you created from the get-go.
Yeah.
It's such a hard kind of like draw. It's hard for like even just for me, like it's hard for me to understand like why not just put them in the universe like as an early stage of things, like all the different theories that we had where they were in a pocket universe or they were in the quantum realm and they were just stuck and they had no way of coming back and whatnot. Creating a separate universe also means like incursions and whatnot that can occur, which of course are going to happen, especially with Secret Wars, with with Doctor Doom and whatnot. I think that the writers for Marvel and Marvel movies and even Marvel shows, like they're getting really they're getting a little too lenient on what works and what doesn't work. It's not as strict. Like I feel like with James Gunn and his creative direction in terms of like Peacemaker and these different universes, it's a little more strict. It's not trying to say, well, this guy is from here, so now he's just going to come over here. At least not yet. Maybe that's going to happen, but at the very least, we're getting kind of an introduction. We're getting spoon-fed it a little bit here and there, so that when we're ready, they're going to give us the entire meal. And I did like Fantastic Four. I think it was a great movie. I thought it was like very well received. I don't think it had enough legs, in terms of the box office, like to stand on its own. It was kind of sad because like they did a pretty damn good job of creating that story. But I kind of wonder, like, would it have received better if it was actually in the 616 universe as opposed to being its own separate universe?
I think the only way that movie would have really succeeded is if they actually had Robert Downey Jr. in the film. Like, I think Fantastic Four has a bit of a bad reputation on the big screen, for normal crowds. I think, the first movies were kind of like regarded as like pretty shit films back in the day, and they didn't really age too well. I don't agree with this personally. I really like those movies with Chris Evans and stuff. But the vast majority of the regular fans don't like those movies. And then the 2015 one was an absolute disaster. Like that movie, I watched it once and never again. I will never watch that movie again. It was fucking terrible. So I think that's very fresh in people's minds because that movie only came out 10 years ago. So I think a lot of the normal fans probably went, I'm not watching this. The last one was fucking terrible. This isn't even in the MCU technically. Like, let's just wait for it to go up on Disney Plus and I'll watch it there. I think that's probably why it failed. Whereas if you had come out and said, this is a direct prequel to the next Avengers movie, Robert Downey Jr. is going to be fucking in the movie. And then I think it would have been massive because people would have been like, shit, I have to see this movie. This is the direct prequel to Doomsday. And even if you only put RDJ in it for 10 minutes, like, you know, it would have still probably made $1 billion. Like, it would have sold twice the seats, like, because people would have been like, okay, this is critical viewing for the next Avengers movie. We have to see this, you know, and then link it back into, like we talked about this already, like link it back into Thunderbolts as well. They had the after credit scene where the four ship shows up at the end. I think, you know, I think I made I don't know if I said this theory to you before, but I think I saw this theory online where it was like, you know, maybe that's actually Doom, like after kidnapping Franklin, showing up in the 616, and then the Fantastic Four are going to chase them into our universe, we'll call it, to try and rescue Franklin or something. That would be cool, and that would link it all together. But like, if they were to actually give us a bit more in even just in the after credit scene, if like RDJ properly showed up and maybe linked in those two after credit scenes, they would have done 100 million more easily 100 million more, maybe 300 million more.
I honestly, like, I partially agree. I think a lot of it had to do, you know, I agree with you. It definitely needed some sort of aspect of Doom within the movie itself. I don't think 10 or 20 minutes would have, you know, saved face. I think it would have been much more applicable to actually just introduce all the characters together and then give them their origin stories and work forward from there.
Blame Robert Downey Jr. for that, because he's looking for too much fucking money. You know what I mean? Like, if they had to pay him 100 million to do these two movies, if they had him in this movie for a half an hour for like a proper origin, he'd probably be looking for 150 million. You know, it's crazy.
I mean, I don't blame him. If anything, I blame the casting crew or the producers. Like it like he's fucking famous, dude. Like he's worth that much. He, like, you want to see him on the big screen, you got to fucking shell out your money.
Yeah,
you know, it's one of those.
I'm not taking anything away from him. He's a fantastic actor, but I just think it's gotten to a stage where he's getting paid so much money now that it's actually hindering the creative process. You know what I mean? Like, well, Robert Downey Jr. should have been at the end of that movie. He should have taken down the mask or whatever, or he should have even had a couple of lines of dialogue. Hey, Sue, it's great to see you again. Who's this little fella? You know, something, you know, where it's, and then like everyone who would in the crowd would be like, holy shit, that's Robert Downey Jr. Obviously, the characters themselves who meet him won't know it's him until they hear him speak, but we know. And then just imagine the hype, imagine the build up, be insane. Obviously, we all know it's coming, but it's just so cool to actually see it on the screen happening, you know?
Yeah, and I guess that, like, that would make somewhat of sense, but it feels too much of a and then this happened kind of situation, and I'm kind of tired of movies that do that. Like, I want things to kind of flow the way they should. That's why I think that the movie does well, because everything kind of flowed forward the way it should, because, you know, Galactus was coming, because Shala Bal was there, and she determined that this was going to be the next planet that was going to be eaten, and then also the you know, the cosmic child was there, essentially, like Franklin was there, and you know, it's a thing. What bugged me though, and this is what I think like kind of hurts the movie, is the fact that they showcased different points of Latveria being in the UN, and Doom is nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Why they didn't, you know, address that is beyond me. I think it was a very weird situation. Like, I don't care that it was like an Easter egg or some sort of like tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. Doom's here. Yeah. But like, it exists. He's part of the world, so they have to build within that area, right? So like, so at what point during the writing did they forget to include Doom? I think at some point, it's like you said, like, I would totally have been fine with it if they had maybe given like 10 or 20 minutes, I think is kind of but like, if they had at least given us something in terms of like them going to Latveria and asking for additional help in terms of, you know, money or, you know, resources, because Doom has plenty of fucking resources. Like, that's his own fucking country. Like, he owns that place.
He loves that place.
And for everyone in the world to help except for Latveria, what? Like, that always bugged me. It's like, why do you have Latveria on the UN?
Yeah.
If you're not talking to to Doom or talking to like people of Latveria, like, it just felt so weird that they didn't want to talk about him.
Yeah, even just a line of dialogue, like, "Where's Doom? Is he not meant to be here?" Or like, "Oh, I hear Doom's off planet," or something crazy. Say anything,
like,
you know.
Well, and it needs to be a little more personal than that. Like, don't you think? Like, it should have been like, you know, Sue should have been like, you know, I noticed Victor wasn't there. You know, and he's like, he's like, yeah, he's been on his own ever since the incident that occurred. Like, fucking give us something to chew on, man. Give us something to like eat and just be like,
they think seeing the word Latveria written on the sign is enough. It's not.
It's not. It really isn't. Because like even when he showed up at the end, like as cool as that was for the moment, it was just like, come on, man. Like I really need something more.
It wasn't enough. And like they've said, like the reason why he didn't have any lines or you didn't see his face is because it was too expensive. They've said that they couldn't afford him.
Well,
and that's wrong, bro. That's wrong.
Yeah,
they shouldn't be doing that.
They should have hired someone cheaper. Like I know that people want RDJ to come back. I know that they do. Figure out another way to do it. You know, don't give him like the biggest role because now you're paying him out the ass for it. And it's not his fault. It's your fault. Cause like, it's negotiations. His lawyer must be really good at negotiating like the terms or his PR. I don't know which person it is that has to take care of that kind of stuff. But like Sentry will be the stand-in for Molecule Man and the Void will be how Doom creates Battle World. That seems kind of like a cool idea. Like, cause then you kind of bring him into this like other like Elseworld kind of feeling, you know,
it'd be nice. It'd be nice for Sentry to get some proper screen time as well. I felt like he was violently underused in that Thunderbolts movie.
Oh, absolutely. Because well, it's because they wanted to talk about feelings, and it wasn't a bad plot. It's just when you introduce these powerful characters, and then you already have characters that are established.
Yeah,
like like it's kind of hard for me to want to like really engage with things if you're not really trying to address the things that Sentry's going through until the very end. And it just felt like kind of like stitched together as best as possible with a few like holes still in the middle. But like kind of spearheading Yelena's problems, which I thought were kind of like it's like I really don't know why you're so upset. We didn't really talk about it too much. It wasn't until at the very end when everything's going fucking crazy. Now we have to stop and talk about about your feeling. It's like, no, you do it beforehand. You talk about your feelings, you overcome the process, and then you go into battle. You know, it's like, it's such a fucking like horrible situation. Like, it's like, if it were mind games, that would make more sense. It's kind of like when you were watching or like reading up on Secret Invasion. Mm-hmm. Those are mind games. Those were conversations that they're having during the time that like we can't think about this right now. You're fine. Everything's going to be fine. Like, but if it's like a basis on your feelings and everything, it's usually before or after the fact. Mm-hmm. And it was during, and it just pulled me out of the cool situation that Sentry was about to go through, turning into Void and like having that whole spiel. I think that like she should have overcome her, like she should have resolved her differences beforehand, or she should have resolved them at the point where it mattered most, which was when they were being held back, and then realizing like, oh, she should have had her own realization rather than having like someone else tell her that she's fine, essentially. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I don't remember how we got into this, but other than that, like, I guess maybe it was just based on like
we were talking about the multiverse in Peacemaker, and we jumped into the MCU and just started shitting about the MCU and multiverse for ages.
And I guess that's what, like, I guess that could kind of segue into the whole idea about feelings in terms of like these episodes as well, because it's not so much like we have chaos every episode. It's like nonstop. We're going to have chaos every single episode. We're going to have a moment, and that's kind of like the soup that we get every time. And I think that's a pretty good soup that we're enjoying. Mm-hmm. We need the introspective, but if you notice, dude, every single time we have something like that, feelings first, fight, feelings after. It's never in the middle. Never in the middle. The only time you ever had it was with Hardcore, because she was dealing with her feelings and she wanted to fight about it. But did she fight about it and then cry and then like have this whole situation? No, she fucking let it out like anger because she was so pissed off at the fact that like she's on a downward slope.
Yeah. And
I thought that was perfect. Like that was great. And then you have the other side with like a different universe. So it's like, oh, I'm just happy. I'm doing my own thing. I'm with Rick Flag Jr. on the side. I've got Chris. Chris seems to be changing. It's kind of weird, but kind of interested in it, which I thought was like really cool. And then you have the explosion that happens, and it's like because you had that sentimental moment, so now you kind of care a little bit. But now explosion and shit's going down, and holy fuck, and anybody could die at any point at this juncture, and so it's like it gets you shaky because it's like holy shit, like what's gonna happen? That's how you make proper scenes. That's how you make a proper movie. That's how you make a proper storyline, is that you give us something to kind of think about, and then you don't give us time to think about it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. I loved the scene where he saved the day on Earth 2, we'll call it. You know, where he went into the building and like to start fucking shit up, and his brother comes in to help and all. Like it was so cool. And yeah, it was just great because like it shows that he actually can be a hero, but like on his Earth, he just doesn't get the chance. They just don't give him the chance. Like the JLA or whatever Justice Gang, like if they had seen that performance from him, they would probably reconsider him as a member of the team, because like, you know, he's obviously very strategic. He's like a, you know, killer marksman, all that sort of stuff. Like, so he definitely has value. But he just doesn't get to show it on his Earth. And then day one on Earth 2, we'll call it, he's literally saving the day. Literally. It's cool. It's cool.
And the way Peacemaker is made out to be, it's almost like it's on the cusp of like an anti-hero, because you know, he does things for the name of peace, like in terms of peace, like that's why he's called Peacemaker.
Yeah.
To ensure the peace amongst the people, he will do whatever it takes. And
he says that in season 1, I think, or maybe in the first Suicide Squad movie that he was in. Like, he's like, you know, I am all about the peace, but I'll blow your fucking head off to get it. You know, and it's like
exactly.
Yeah. So obviously, you know, Earth 1 doesn't really appreciate that too much, but obviously Earth 2 are like, hell yeah, dude, do what you got to do, save the day, no matter what it takes.
Get your peace.
Cool. Exactly. Exactly. Which version of Harcourt do you prefer, Earth 1 or Earth 2?
I guess you know what, Earth 1's kind of cool. Like but she's dealing with a lot of shit, so I think she needs to kind of work that shit out. The second one, I don't know. Like if she's not as badass as the first one, I don't know.
She seems a little desperate as well. Like she's like real desperate to get back with him, and you know, like they're very like yin and yang. Like the two of them are completely opposites of each other. You know, they're like Earth 1 version like has no interest in him at all, and Earth 2 is like dying to get back with him. It just hoping that, you know, he's doing it for the right reason. It's very just like polar opposites. So it's really interesting.
Oh, that
but I do like version 1 better for sure.
I didn't see it as desperation. She was more concerned at the fact that like, what if he goes back to his old ways? I think it's more along the lines of like, I want stability, and you need to be stable. And she
kind of fangirls over him a lot and everything, you know, like it seems, and like because it's like he's a proper celebrity in the second one, so like she's like excited that he's texting and all this sort of stuff. Like it's very, very. I suppose desperation was probably a pretty drastic word to use, but you know what I mean. I don't mean like absolutely like bend over backwards desperate, but she's very much, you know, kind of fangirling over him, and like, you know, will like take the chance to get back with him, whereas for version 1 of her just has no interest at all.
Yeah, well, like I mean, they do have a past, you know, from what they've been conversing is that they've had a relationship in the past, and because he wasn't living up to the state that he's currently in right now, being in a different universe and all, you know, she didn't want that anymore. It seems like that they kind of broke off because, you know, he was too busy thinking about himself while she was trying to kind of be in more of like an actual just regular relationship. So that's
now that we know as well that the version 1 of her was having an affair with Rick Flag Jr., do you think that affects her potentially not wanting to be with Chris because he killed him?
Well, how do we know that?
How do we know what?
That she was with Rick Flag Jr. in the first universe.
In Earth 1, there was that flashback to 3 years ago, and the two of them had slept together. And then she's like, "Oh, I can't let I can't let my girlfriend find out about it. She's the enchantress or whatever. That was Earth 1. And she obviously then it skips forward to it doesn't he gets called out on the mission, and that's the mission where Peacemaker kills him. So he
I must have
literally yeah, that's at the very start of the episode. So that's
I
what I
must
was
have missed the
saying.
context.
Yeah, so that was like literally what they were doing with that scene was they were flashing back to show you that Harcourt and Ric Flair or Ric Flag were
Woo!
I wouldn't put this past Ric Flair actually, but yeah, no, Ric Flag Jr. were having an affair right before the events of James Gunn's Suicide Squad, and that led into him getting killed. So maybe there's a bit of resentment from Harcourt, the main version of Harcourt. There could be some resentment to the fact that she knows that Peacemaker killed him. That would
There's
so that might
like,
be.
and it's on record that they know that
Oh
Peacemaker.
yeah, like
Well,
all
yeah,
all the
Economos, yeah,
suicide all the Suicide Squad, everybody knows that, like, that's part, and again, it's in the Argus files and all that stuff, so she would
yep,
know for sure because
yeah.
she was like right hand man to Amanda Waller during that movie and everything. So yeah, she was there. She knows exactly what happened. It'll be interesting actually. I might go back and watch that. I've only watched that film the one time when it first came out. Like when this season's finished, I might go back and watch it again because obviously it is canon now. So it'll be interesting. You might see a few bits different now, knowing that Harcourt and Flag had a relationship and everything like that. Like
Mhm.
you could see the movie different a second time. Susie asked, how do we see this season tying into the Gods and Monsters theme? Again, where this movie is right now, there's not a lot of like monsters or god shit going on. But like if you think back to his Suicide Squad movie, like it's very kind of monstery. Like the big fucking star monster thing that they're killing at the end of the movie and all that sort of stuff. I can't remember the thing's name. What's it called?
Starro.
Starro, yeah. I was thinking Star U, and I was like, no, that's a Pokemon. But yeah, Starro, like that whole thing was like monstery as fuck. Like, and I suppose we have Superman now, so you know what I mean. And obviously,
Well,
he's been in the show now technically because they retconned the events of the instead of the Justice League showing up, it's the Justice Gang now showed up. So like he's met Superman and Supergirl and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, like I think I don't know where it goes, but I think Peacemaker will either make it to one of these teams maybe going forward. I don't know if they're going to be making many more seasons of this show. If they keep the show going, I would say it'll stay quite grounded, to be honest. I think that's kind of where he belongs, like in a street fighting team with vigilante and all that sort of stuff. Like I think that's kind of where he works best. Would I like to see him on the Justice League or something like that down the line, or the JSA or one of these teams? Like, yeah, cool. Why not? Like if they do a big like movie event, or if he shows up in Superman 2 or Supergirl or something like that, like yeah, I'm all for it. Wasn't he in Superman? He had like a very quick cameo in Superman.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
he did.
so like
I think
he's
it was.
there. Like he's there. He's very
I
much
think he
in
was
the
saying that he sucked or something.
yeah.
um,
Yeah. When Gunn announced the Authority, my first thought was Peacemaker would be part of the team. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
that'd be cool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, why not? Like, you know what I mean? You're creating a DCU. You've got plans for 10 years. Let's fucking get them all in a big bowl and mix it up. Like, why not? Like, this would be a perfect time to do stuff like this as well because the MCU is really lacking connective tissue now. Like DCU, it'd be perfect for them to hit the floor running with some crazy connective tissue, like because that's what we love. Like that's why we fell in love with the MCU in the first place.
mhm.
Like you remember, like do you remember like the hype around just sitting in the theater to watch the after credit scene because you knew it was a hint to the next movie. You knew it was what was coming up. Like the end of Iron Man 2, you see Thor's hammer in the desert. You're like, oh my god, Thor's coming! Like, and we just had no clue. Like that's the shit that you need to bring back. And I know it's a little bit harder to do now with the leak culture and all that sort of thing, and TikTok and fucking Twitter, and there's leaks everywhere and spoilers all over the place. Like I don't know if things like that can stay hidden anymore, but the magic would still be there if we still had those connections.
Exactly.
We like the canon and the lore. Exactly. 100%.
Mhm.
100%. Yeah.
I think it's criminal for certain writers to be like, nah, they don't give a shit about that. You know what? I want to make my own thing.
Yeah, I never read the comics. Who cares about the comics? I'm gonna write my own thing.
It's
Yeah,
so
I don't
bad when they do
like
that.
like Disney hire people to like work on Star Wars that have never seen a Star Wars movie before.
It's it
Like,
it
excuse me?
insane, man.
If I was interviewing somebody to be a writer on Star Wars, I'd say, "What's your favorite Star Wars movie?" "I've never seen any." "Okay, come back to me when you've seen them all." Like, what the fuck
Yeah,
are we talking about here? When you can come back to me and give me an answer what your favorite Star Wars movie is and why, I will consider you for the job to make the next one. Like, what the fuck are we talking about here? Like, like they had writers on The Acolyte and they were like, "Oh, it's so refreshing. We've got a fresh take on somebody who hasn't been manipulated by the Star Wars universe." It's like, what the fuck are we talking about here? You can't have somebody come in and do a story that was 100 years before episode one and expect them to, like, not know anything and that to be a good idea.
right.
We saw how
Well, and
that
it's
went. We saw how that went.
yeah,
It got canceled straight away. Do you know what I mean? Fucking ridiculous,
it was shoehorning a situation that we didn't need at the time.
And like I understand, some people like aren't, some workers aren't into a certain thing, but they, everybody needs a job. That's fair enough. But you know what I mean? Like if you're coming in to work on the MCU, like at least do your homework on the MCU.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to go and read every fucking Star Wars Legends book to be able to write something that's, accurate. At least watch the fucking movies. At least have a clue what you're talking about. Do you know what I mean? Like some of the plot points in that show were just criminal. Like, and then they had to go back. They were trying to save their own face by like, going onto like Wikipedia and changing stuff like after the episodes air because people are like, Kerry Mundy wasn't alive in this time. What the hell's he doing here? And then it's like they changed his date of birth and all like online after the episode airs and like shit, they caught that. Better change it. Like fuck that, man. I'm sorry. Like that's bullshit. Like I hate that sort of stuff. So no.
Yeah,
Give us somebody who has at least basic fucking knowledge of the universe that they're writing for.
yeah, but
Lunacy, man.
everybody everybody nowadays wants to be like the next big thing, and it's really starting to take hold into like how much the audience is just like, please just give us what we know in the comics. It's as
Yeah.
simple as when you see a manga get like animated. When you see a manga get what's the term? Oh my god, visualize into like an anime. I forgot the term, but basically like when you see it coming into reality.
Animated would be a good word, I would say.
Yeah, just when you see it like fully animated and see like
Yeah.
the design and works from any sort of book, any sort of manga. It doesn't have to be a manga, it could be a book, like Lord of the Rings. Like when you see it fully realized, that's the term I'm thinking. When you see it fully realized, like, and you see it on the big screen and you see that they followed as much of the canon as possible, albeit some things were changed here and there, like I think in Return of the King, you say that Aragorn gets the sword in Return of the King, when I believe in Fellowship he kind of gets it early.
Yeah, and I can understand some of that just for kind of flow and storytelling on screen is a bit different than in a book or in a comic book and so on. So I can understand them changing stuff like that to kind of fit the episodic nature of a TV show or like, the runtime or flow of a film. Like, you need to have ebbs and flows in a movie. Like, it's not going to read the same if there's, an hour of boring content in the middle here where, they need to kind of have it rise and fall, and it makes sense. But like, either just neglecting lore altogether or neglecting canon altogether, that's a completely different story to, just changing the order of the way something happens or leaving it out because, we can't fit it into a 2.5 hour film. But, if they did like a 4 hour extended cut, they'll put it in there. And that's exactly what the Lord of the Rings did. There's a 4 hour cut of each of those films. Like, if you watch those 3 films one by one, which I did one day, it's 12 hours. It's insane. What a journey, man. It's incredible. Like, I'd highly recommend it if you haven't done it before. But like the extended cuts, they go deep. Like, it's very, very cool. Very cool.
And then you get She-Hulk, which ends up like getting into the last episode where everything that you experienced in all the episodes are now congregating into the last episode. Then you see the villain, the real villain, who is like this nerdy guy from Intelligentsia who takes the fucking Hulk serum and becomes like a dummy looking version of Hulk.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you doing? And then, obviously the story writers was like, and then we're going to make it so that she stops everything, stops all production. She leaves the area and she goes and talks to the story writers and says, what are you guys doing? It's like, oh my God, why did you make this whole thing your staple? Like, why did you make the fourth wall your whole thing. All you wanted to do was build it up until the very end and then go, we're gonna really break the fourth wall this time. We're gonna get Kevin Feige's like
Yeah.
robot thing to jump out, and then you talk to him.
You can imagine the writer's room going, whoa, someone in the writer's room going, guys, hang on a sec. I've got an idea. What if she walked through the fucking door here, like our door? And they probably were all like, oh my God, this is
my God.
cutting edge. Yeah. Oh my God, we're going to be in the show. Holy shit. Yeah.
What's that meme? Like, what's that meme? It's like,
yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I'd say heads blew that day. Like I'd say they were like, "Holy shit, this is it, guys! We're getting Emmys for this one and everything."
They're gonna love it. Are they writing these scripts in crayon?
I think, to be honest, they're not even writing it down. I think they're on the fly. Like they're just like, roll the cameras, throw a bunch of shit at the wall and see what sticks. Literally, like I don't even think they're writing shit down, man. Like it's terrible.
It's like after every scene they put like a happy little sun on the right that tells them that it's everything's going as according to plan.
I was eating dinner tonight and my missus was like, I'm going to put on Infinity War. And I was like, oh, there's a reason why I'm with you. This is great. And like, literally, we started watching like the first hour of the movie. And like, I'm just sitting there, like, and I'm like, I've seen the movie like probably 12 times, I'd say. And I get gobsmacked every time, like, because I'm just like, this is just perfection. It is just the peak and the epiphany of the MCU. Every single fucking line of dialogue is great. It looks phenomenal. Like all the fight scenes, everything, like just getting so many characters to finally meet after all these years. It's just so beautiful. Like the time where like Thor turns around, he's like, "Who the hell are you guys?" And the camera pans around, and it's the Guardians of the Galaxy. You're just like, "Oh, this is just so good." Like it's just it was perfect, man, perfect. And I'm sitting there watching it, eating my dinner, and I'm just thinking, like, can the Russos do it again? Like, are we going to be able to like make anything like close to how good this fucking movie is? And I'm scared because I just don't think they will. Like the track record of the MCU has been so bad lately that the only times that where we've had some like severely good hits since Endgame have been like, let's be real, like nostalgia trips like No Way Home and Deadpool and Wolverine. Like they've been the biggest hits. And like while I sat in the theater watching both of those movies in IMAX, and I was fucking nearly jumping out of my seat. I was so happy to have like Toby back and Andrew back, and getting to see like Hugh Jackman back and all. These are like incredible things, like, but they don't hold up the same. Like the rewatchability is not the same. Like turning on Infinity War and just getting gobsmacked from minute one, just to how good it is, and just it all flowing so perfectly. Getting to see like the rugged Steve Rogers, and just everybody coming together, and it's magic. It's actual magic on the screen. And then if you go back and watch like Spider-Man 3, while it's a great movie and like Spider-Man's my favorite character, I love the movie, but it's not the same. It doesn't have that same wow factor the next time you watch it as it did the first time. And Deadpool and Wolverine, I've watched it maybe twice, and the second time it was fine. It was grand. It was cool. It was funny. I didn't laugh as much. It was not as much of a kind of like, whoa, this is cool. We get to see all the variants of Wolverine. It didn't slap the same way the next time. Not saying it's a bad movie, but it's not as special as it was when it first came out. But whereas Infinity War is, every time I watch it, it's like I'm watching it for the first time again. It is just magic.
It's like when you have someone's like recipe, and so so it's like, picture this. So it's like someone made something and it's fucking spectacular, right?
Yeah.
And it's like amazing. You had like, I don't know, egg salad, potato salad, and something, and they just made the best damn potato salad you ever had. They give you the recipe, you go home, you try to experience it again. It's not the same. It's just and you'll never get that same feeling as you did when you had that first moment of potato salad.
It kind of, and this is just for me maybe, but even if I like make something myself, it never tastes as good as when someone makes it for me. Some people are the opposite. Some people like, and I don't know if maybe you just need to be a really skilled chef to do this, but some people like that. I know some people that like, it's like if they spend the time putting it into a dish and it's like the best thing ever. For me, that dish, if I made it the exact same way, wouldn't taste as good to me as if my mate who's the chef made it for me. Like,
yeah,
it's, or my mom, like, if I go home and my mom makes like one of my favorite dinners, like it's just like, oh, this is the best. But if I made it at my house, it's not the same at all, even if it was the exact same ingredients and everything, like,
yeah. So like when you go to the theater and you experience that nostalgia trip for the first time, it's like you just had the best meal ever. And
Yeah,
then you go home and you try to experience it again at home, and
yeah.
it just doesn't hit the same.
Well, but like I don't know, like because Infinity War does, but something like No Way Home, like I enjoyed watching the extended version of No Way Home. Like I was kind of watching it for the first time because I was seeing some new stuff, and that was great. But it's not one that I can like. I don't think I'll ever watch Deadpool and Wolverine like 12 times. You know, I just don't think it's the same thing.
Well, they the recipe was perfect enough for like even you can't fuck it up.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Stussy says that run of Guardians 2, Homecoming, Ragnarok, Black Panther, Infinity War was peak. I think it goes back even further. It goes back even further. Like go back to Civil War. Go back to the Winter Soldier. Like the Winter Soldier is probably in my top 3 superhero movies ever. Like it's incredible. Like so good. So like you could even say from like say 2014 if you go back because you got like then you can put in Civil War, you can put in um like the Doctor Strange movie I think is fantastic as well. Like I'd regard the Doctor Strange movie higher than like Guardians 2 for example. But there's like so that run from like 2014 to 2018, 2019 if you want to include Endgame as well. Absolutely like peak cinema. And we
Mhm.
had like so much going on then as well. There was like 1 or 2 movies every year and they were fucking bangers. It was like $1 billion movies every single time. People were just hooked on it. And it was obviously they were all good movies, but it was down to the fact that they were so connected that you know what I mean. Like you started getting when it came around to Ragnarok and when it came around to like Doctor Strange, like all these people were showing up in each other's movies and everything, and it was just poetry. It was perfect. Like Robert Downey Jr. having a big role in the Spider-Man movie, like you know what I mean. Like that was just great. Like if you're a massive Robert Downey Jr. fan, you're getting to see Robert Downey Jr. in a Spider-Man movie. Like it was amazing. It was lethal. Like I loved it. Loved every minute of it. So he says No Way Home and Deadpool and Wolverine are still up there for me. Like honestly, my favorite movies in the MCU. That's great. Like I love that for you. And like I do like the movies. I think they were great. I'm so happy we got them, and they were massive box office successes. Like for me, I care deeply about how well these movies do because I know that if the movies aren't doing good, we might not be here for too much longer talking about them. Like you know, so for me, when I hear that a MCU movie does $1 billion, I'm celebrating it even if I don't like it that much. Like I wasn't a big fan of Guardians 3. I'm not a big fan of the Guardians franchise at all, to be honest. But if they make money, I'm happy because we fucking need it, you know? Spider-Man 2 is like your dad making a burger.
Oh,
Fuck yeah.
absolutely.
Amen to that. Yeah, dad's in front of the barbecue flipping burgers. That's Toby Spider-Man 2. 100%. 100%. Oh,
Your dad says, "Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts."
yeah. Crazy the Venom 3 made more
Fucking
money
love
than
it.
the MCU movies this year. That's a very scary reality, right? Like, and I think that's just down to Tom Hardy being such a movie star, and a lot of people want to see a Tom Hardy movie. Again, I personally, if you've been listening to this podcast for a long time, like I'm not the biggest Tom Hardy fan. I like him in certain things, but then I think that's all he kind of does, and I kind of think he kind of replicates the same kind of character again and again in things. He doesn't have a vast range. So like he's either kind of like the dumb American jock or he's like the London gangster, and that's kind of all he does. He doesn't really do anything. Like his Eddie Brock sounds exactly like the guy he played in the MMA movie where he was the American MMA fighter, and then everything he does where he's a gangster all sounds like his role in Peaky Blinders or in I Am or Legend or whatever. Like it all sounds the same. And then in Bane, you couldn't even understand a word he said. Like you need subtitles on for that one. So it's like it's I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Tom Hardy. I think he's cool. I like the Mobland show that he did, but I'm not as big of a fan as obviously everybody else is because people are going to see shit Sony movies with him in it and it's making more money than Fantastic Four. Like, what kind of
Mhm.
world is that? Like, it's a crazy world we live in. Um, and like that was a dying franchise. We knew the franchise was on the out as well, and people were still going to see that movie. I went to see the movie. I like me and my missus went to see it, and it wasn't terrible. It was better than the second one. So I suppose
Yeah,
that's a win.
absolutely.
Yeah. I'd like to see Tom Hardy come into the MCU. Like I wouldn't mind that at all if he was like the Eddie Brock slash Venom of the MCU going forward after Secret Wars or whatever, or even in Secret Wars. Cool. I'd be down for that.
Mhm.
We have that tiny bit of the symbiote sitting in the 616. Like, what's gonna happen there? or is that just going to be forgotten about? Like, I would like to think that that goes somewhere. Like maybe Spider-Man 4 happens and Tom Holland's Spider-Man, it gets attached to him at the end, or it's in an after credit scene or something like that, and then we go to Secret Wars, Battle World, and the suit starts taking over, and then we get the black suit Spider-Man in Battle World.
Mhm.
Starts turning a bit evil. We run into Toby. Oh, I've had that suit on before, man. You need to take it off. That shit's not good for you. Be sick, man. Be sick. And then the symbiote remembering Toby or something. That'd be so cool. Because the way it's like the hive mind that it remembers the multiverse. Like,
Yeah.
oh, there you are, Spider-Man. I remember you now. That's my Spider-Man or something like, something like that'd be fucking cool. Yeah, I'd like that shit. That'd be cool. Do you
You
have
and
anything
your
you want to bring up?
cliches, man.
I just think that that'd be poetry, man. Like that's kind of they've hinted at there being a hive mind. He knows who Spider-Man is, so they're kind of putting out those breadcrumbs. So I'd like to see a payoff. I think it'd be cool. And Toby is in London right now, where Doomsday and Spider-Man are being worked on right now. So I think we're getting Toby back officially, which would be sick. I'd love to see some more of him. Do you have
Sounds
anything you want to
good.
bring up?
Nothing at the moment.
Anything cool that you're watching, or any recommendations you want to give to the chat?
Um, I mean, we just like Katie and I just started watching Burn Notice.
I never watched that. I
It,
never watched that one myself.
it's really interesting. I like it. It's basically a spy who is given a burn notice, and a burn notice is basically like you're cut off from the organization, and everything about you is basically um frozen. Like you all your accounts are frozen. You can't go anywhere. You're locked into wherever it is that they're going to lock you into. Um, and you're probably dead as well. Like whatever it is that you're currently involved in, like they're like, we don't care. You're gonna die. Um, the main character, which is Michael Weston, I think it's played by Jeff. Is it Jeffrey Donovan? I think that's his name. Um, he manages to get out of the situation that he was currently in and ends up in Miami. So he's in Florida, dealing with the Florida shit, while also trying to figure out why the hell he got a burn notice in the first place.
Right.
So that's kind of the whole spiel of the show. It's like him trying to follow the trail while also helping out, friends, family, or like any sort of assignments that are done in between, because he still has to try to make money to live.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually really fun. And the most recent episode I watched was really fun. He was basically like impersonating like a crazy like turf, like territorial kind of like drug lord kind of guy for a second, like trying to show off as crazy as like trying to be as crazy as he is. And then
Yeah.
like a drug lord sees him, employs him, and then he basically gets them to turn on each other.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. I might check it out if I have like a little opening for something to watch. Like a lot of the stuff that I'm watching is coming to an end now. So, like Alien Earth is probably over in a couple of weeks' time. Dexter ended last week. Phenomenal finish to the season. Highly recommend the show to anybody who's maybe listening to us who hasn't watched it. I don't know, like if you've never watched any Dexter at all, like jump on the Dexter train straight away. Like the first 4 seasons of Dexter are some of my all-time favorite TV. Absolutely incredible. Gets a little shaky after season 4, and then the show ended, and then they brought back the show. They revived it like maybe 10 years later or something, and they did one season. It wasn't too bad, like compared to the last couple of seasons of the original show. It was really good. And then they launched a prequel show like with different actors, and that was surprisingly fantastic. And then they brought back the original actors and did like the sequel show, we'll call it. And that was like, I was watching a video on it the other day. It is one of the highest rated TV shows of all time, the new series. It has 7 episodes in a row that are over a 9 out of 10 on IMDb. It's record breaking how good the show is. So if you've watched a lot of Dexter, give it a go. It's phenomenal. It's on Paramount Plus, or you can download it illegally. Do what you want. I don't care. Just watch the fucking show. It's so good. BB says she just finished Solo Leveling. Oh, here goes. Here goes. Here goes. Alex on an anime spiel. Have you seen
Uh,
Solo Leveling? I presume
uh,
you're watching it, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I finished it a long time ago. The second season was fantastic. I mean,
I've heard
like
the show is
honest.
incredible. I've heard it's
Oh
brilliant.
yeah, it's an absolute banger, and a lot of people like when you have a show that gets so much praise but also gets a lot of hate. That's when you know it's a banger.
Yeah,
Because animes are always the duality when it comes to like it's either unanimously hated or it's mixed. It's
right.
never ultimately positive, but you will have a large spiel of people trying to be positive about certain shows. So like One Piece for instance, like a large quantity of people say it's great, but you
I've
will
never
get
heard.
some
I've never heard anyone talk shit about Demon Slayer.
I have
Okay,
it's
I never
still
have.
it's still like the tropes, man. It's still
Yeah,
the little things that they see here and there, and they're like, why this, why that. I don't know for
nitpicking,
very
basically.
much nitpicking. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, My Hero Academia, it's a fantastic show. I think it ended pretty well, but a lot of people felt like it needed more. So like that's kind of like a thing where it's like, well, a lot of people unanimously think like, oh, it's kind of crazy how like you only went so far as this, you only did this amount of chapters, this amount of episodes of the anime, and then now it's over. But I think the creator said that there's plenty of story to go around. We can go and look at other heroes. This hero story is over. We can move on to other heroes, which I think is a great concept. That's indicative of like of comics. So, but for solo leveling, it's a manhwa, like Korean made, like Korean design. Like it's all the characters are Korean, and it was animated like via Crunchyroll and like published and whatnot. I'm kind of spieling out. Um, Essentially, very good concept of like these hunters that you have. They're all ranked in certain areas. You stay that rank forever, um, and you essentially cannot get any stronger than that. But the main character ends up finding a way to essentially go from level, like he starts leveling. He goes from level
yeah,
1 to level like whatever the fuck, and he gets ranked up as it goes along. He finally gets all this different all these different abilities and powers that come with it as well. And nobody's ever seen the likes of that like in the show. So like it's a different change of pace. You see like his growth period and the moments where he's like about to die as opposed to like where he um you know whereas like other people who are like have been working on their thing for like their entire life being in like A rank or S rank just get fucking demolished by certain things, and then he bumps in and it's like no sweat.
yeah,
It's almost like one punch man, but it's like on more on the aspect of like he can get stronger and he can still be taken down. It's just harder.
yeah, yeah. I do mean to check it out. I can't remember. I might have actually downloaded the first season of it. I can't remember. It might be on my my NAS drive. I'll have to check. But I've heard nothing but great things. And I'm not really so glued in that I'm going to see all the nitpicky stuff. So if I know a show like Solo Leveling exists, it means it's getting talked about quite a bit because I'm not really in the anime scene at all.
Hmm.
Just want to go back to a previous comment here, just from Stuzy. I read it and just we were talking about something else that didn't really naturally flow in, but um, he just wants to say here he thinks that Marvel really misread the room with planning the new Avengers films. He wants to see like the three Spider-Man, Deadpool, Wolverine, and Chris Evans. Like honestly, from what I've heard, all that's going to happen anyway. Like Evans is on set right now filming. Like if you've seen any pictures of him recently, he's jacked as fuck. He's back. Like he's in the hero physique. Rumors are is that like Deadpool is clashing with RDJ on set and everything. So I don't know how true it actually is, but the fact that they're talking about that, means that they're all there. Jackman is, he's around for the next couple of years easily. So I think you're going to get everything that you want there. To be honest, um, you know, when they did the whole chair stream, yes, I think your comment here that they're focusing on Sam, the Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four. I think the whole chair stream was there. The purpose of it was to try and get people to watch Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. That's all I think that was for. Like they announced the cast for Doomsday, and I think the only reason why they put those people's names on the seats was because they're like, oh, let's name everybody in the upcoming movies to be like, hey, you really need to watch that movie because these guys are going to be in the next movie. I really feel like that's what it was all about. And then they named, like Patrick Stewart and stuff like that just to get people hyped up. But if they put like Chris Evans' name on one of those seats, That's all the people we talked about. Holy shit, Evans is back. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, who gives a fuck about like Sam fucking like Falcon captain now? You know, Steve Rogers is coming back. You know, like they're not gonna care, you know. So I think that was definitely a publicity stunt to get people to talk about the Fantastic Four, to get people to talk about the Thunderbolts and try and like keep their minds focused on what's coming out this year. And it didn't work. It didn't work at all because I see so much more hype for like hearing that like Chris Evans is on the set on Twitter now than I do people talking about Fantastic Four or talking about Thunderbolts or you know trying to theorize like where's Yelena going to end up pop up next or where's this going to happen or you know where's Sentry now, what's he doing? Like no one gives a shit about any of that. Everyone just wants to see the originals back. Like I saw people talking about like, you know, oh, Thor's on set at the moment and Evans is coming next week and all this stuff like it. It's like, you know, everyone's just still laser focused on the original Avengers and that's all they really want to see back. And maybe like, you know, Patrick Stewart and, you know, the original Magneto and all that sort of stuff. Like I think that will be cool as well. But I don't think they give a fuck about like the Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts and shit like that. I think that's just kind of yeah, whatever. Bring along the
They
stragglers from the end of Phase 5 that nobody gives a shit about anymore. But let's get back to the real shit, please. You know, I think that's what's really going on.
Yeah, because like they essentially dragged us by a chain and ran us through the muck before we got to see anything that was like even worthwhile.
Yeah,
I would say that like Thunderbolts is not really worthwhile in my opinion, especially with the way that they changed the design of it. I think it would have been much better if they had done the comic based characters for the Thunderbolts. Like I'm pretty sure some of these characters are established in the Thunderbolts. I don't remember the roster per se. I think it comes and goes. But like, why didn't they just do Baron Zemo? Why didn't they just do the Dark Avengers? Why didn't they just make their own thing? Like, calling it the New Avengers is one thing. Like calling it the Dark Avengers would have been so much more cool. Like it
yeah,
so much cooler, so much more like properly designed considering like I think the Dark Avengers is a good handful of covert ops characters as well.
hmm
And having the Thunderbolts and not
Norman Osborn.
yeah, no Norman, like even if Zemo was handling the Thunderbolts, like I would have been totally fine with that as well.
Yeah,
Um,
and like people love him as well. You know,
yeah,
he was a big part of like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and like everyone loved having him back. And yeah, bring him back again. I don't know why they didn't do it.
just
Should have brought back McAvoy and Fassbender. I agree. I love the two of them. I just think the older guys are too old, and we've already seen them die. I will never not want to see Patrick Stewart in that wheelchair. Honestly, I'll take because as you say, they're old now, so it's sad to say, but they're probably not going to live too much longer. So I would love to see them one more time. Um, I think McAvoy and Fassbender are great, and I would like to see them too. And I think that's everything is a possibility in these next two movies. I think you could see it all. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bit of a time jump and we go into the first class era and see them again, or you do some sort of a flashback story with Wolverine and he gets to kind of go through the 70s, 80s, 90s, and you get to see McAvoy and Fassbender again. I'd love that. That'd be great. Um, maybe they go down the road of during the like soft reboot, and maybe they bring them in then. Maybe they become like the new 616 Magneto. Like if Fassbender got a role being Magneto for the next 10 years, I would be very fucking happy with that. I love him as Fassbender, and I think McAvoy's incredible as Charles as well. I think that'd be great. I'm still hoping to get Anya Taylor-Joy as Magic. It was a great casting. I haven't seen that film. That was the New
Magic would be
Mutants.
cool.
She was in the New Mutants movie, right? As Magic. I never watched it.
I didn't either, but it's a great idea to have her do it. I think she fits the description well.
I think now if you were to bring, because with the success of like Marvel Rivals and stuff, I think if you bring like someone like Magic in now, I think it hits a lot better. Because I think a lot of the normal fans didn't have a fucking clue who she was. You only like have the hardcore kind of sweaties knowing who Magic is. Now that she's kind of a little more mainstream, you bring her in now, I think it has a much bigger effect. And Anya Taylor-Joy is a much bigger actress now as well. So, you're hitting it at a better level on two different fronts. She's a better actress or bigger actress now, and the character is more mainstream. So I think it will probably work a lot better.
I don't want to just go back to Nobody's. I think it
I
worked
love it.
well, and
It did.
it worked well in the prequel movies for Star Wars,
Yeah.
and you know, it
It
seems
worked in
to,
the first few phases of the MCU as well.
yeah,
You know, like
and
Chris Hemsworth, like Thor was like his first like proper main role, like, you know, first leading role, I believe, was Thor. You know, so he was pretty much unknown. Like he had been in Star Trek, I think was like his first like big movie. And like he was only
mhm,
in it for like the first 5 minutes. He played like Kirk's dad, and that was it. Like a younger version of him or whatever. And that was it. He was done. And then he became Thor, and boom, rest is history, I suppose.
mhm.
Yeah. Might leave it there for the week, guys. I don't really have anything else to bring up. There's not really a lot of going around news wise. Yeah, I don't really know. But I don't know. Are you around next week?
Yeah.
Cool. So next week, I think there we'll have like a new episode of Alien Earth. Is kind of the only thing that's really running right now. So I don't know if you get the time and maybe catch up, we can go a little deeper on that. I haven't watched all of the new episodes yet. I started it and then I got distracted with some other things and I didn't get a chance to finish it. And I realized, oh, Jesus, it's nearly podcast time. So I was like, I'm gonna have to watch this one again. So I'm gonna start it again because I was way too distracted. But I'm gonna start it again and watch it tomorrow during my lunch break and work. But yeah, if you can get a few episodes in, we can talk about that. And I don't really know if there's anything else. We'll figure it out anyway. We'll figure out something to talk about. But
Mhm.
massive thank you to anybody who was hanging out with us here in the chat. Stewsy and BB and Dan and Andre and everybody. Thank you so much, guys. And if you're listening to us on a replay, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave us a comment below us, and let us know what you think of Peacemaker and the MCU and the state of it and all that sort of stuff. And we'll see you in the next one. Take it easy, guys. Bye bye.
Have a good one.